I really believe that this is a fundamental, it's a Second Amendment issue. It's something that it's long overdue.
One of the other issues that's of great concern to readers of Guns and Patriots is concealed carry, national concealed carry. You've been very active in this issue. In fact, your own bill for national concealed carry received 58 votes in the Senate, and that was, what, 2009?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people expected that bill to be reintroduced. What are we waiting for?
Well, we will reintroduce it, and irrespective of how these discussions come out, but we're working with some folks. We're trying to build as much support for it as we can, and a list of co-sponsors. We're in discussions with Senator Webb, Senator Begich. We're looking for some Democrat lead sponsors on this. Senator Vitter obviously has been very involved on this and was a co-sponsor when we went through this in 2009. And so they all have raised various concerns about the way that my bill was originally drafted and made suggestions to modify it. But in the end, we want to make sure that we get the product out there that has the best possible chance of getting 60 votes in the Senate and 218 in the House. And in the course of those discussions, we will come to that point. And if we can't get everybody on, and frankly, for that matter, there's been some, the organizations out there too are a little bit in different places with regard to a couple of the issues, but we're trying to work that out. And when we get this, when we introduce the bill, we will be ready to proceed with it, and hopefully we'll have a very unified front among the co-sponsors as well as the organizations who care about this issue.
Would it be closer to the Vermont standard than, say,
well,
the Illinois standard?
Yeah. Well, you know, those are some of the issues that we're still trying to get down and refine. There are folks who want to treat Vermont differently than when they were treated in the legislation that we went with last time. But I think that we had great success, as you mentioned, in getting 58 votes on this floor of the Senate last time. I don't think we ought to deviate too far from that, because we've got people who've already cast a vote in support of that. We have new members of Congress who have already indicated to us that they would have supported that particular version of it. So I think if we deviate too much in terms of the details of the legislation, we run the risk of losing support.
Right.
So we're trying to stay pretty close to where we were 2 years ago in terms of the substance of the legislation, and I'm hoping that, like I said, that when we introduce the bill, that we'll have everybody on the same page and pulling in the same direction.
And with Democratic support, you would have greater hope of maybe a presidential signature.
Well, yeah. Well, I wish I could say that we're going to get a presidential signature. But if we could get a veto-proof majority in the Senate, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibility, that would require we'd have to get 20 Democrats to vote with 47 Republicans. We won't get every Republican, but there are enough Democrats, I think, who ought to be concerned about the political consequences of being against this issue in their states, and we'll try and win as many as we can. I mean, the first threshold, of course, is 60. That's to get it passed in the Senate.
Sure.
And that's what we've got our eye on right now, because we were a couple of short last time. The Democrats last time very successfully allowed people that they thought needed to be for it to vote for it, and allowed people that they could let off the hook.
Because
and that's why we didn't get to 60.
They knew they
weren't up for re-election.
60.
Yeah, that's right. They want to keep it under 60, and so they would make people who were not up for re-election, they would get them to vote for it and let the people who were running that year off the hook. Yeah. So they're going to try and figure out a way. There's going to be a lot of manipulation and shenanigans that are tried to prevent this thing from getting 60 votes. But the key is to get people at the grassroots level engaged on this. And that means the NRA and Gun Owners of America and readers of your fine publication need to be engaged with their members of Congress in ensuring that they understand what the legislation does, and start putting pressure on Congress to get this done. I really believe that this is a fundamental. It's a Second Amendment issue. It's something that it's long overdue, and I think that the way that we've constructed it, where it's respective of some of the states that have put different conditions in place, balances that federalism concept, and it's something that's a basic freedom issue, and I hope we can get it done this year, but it's going to take the engagement of people at that grassroots level.
Would you expect something done before Columbus Day?
That depends a lot on the Senate schedule. My guess is that we will look for a vehicle on which we could attach this as an amendment. It's unlikely, I think, that Senator Reid would schedule it in the Senate as a freestanding bill, simply because, you know, although I think he will have to vote for it, I don't think that he's going to try and help us get it through. So we'll have to look for some other way of advancing it. And I don't know what that vehicle might be at this point, but we'll be looking for opportunities. Once we get the bill introduced, we have all the co-sponsors on board, and we get the groups out there who care about this issue engaged, we'll be ready to start looking at legislative strategies.